Hi there, and welcome to Bustthenet. On today's show, we're going to do a quick guide on defenders, and I'm going to focus on a few defenders, and I'm going to show you how they move and what you should bear in mind when you use these defenders. You've got several defenders in the game. You've got a central defender, you've got a ball playing defender, and no nonsense center back. Essentially, just the most important thing to understand is among all these defenders, there's one defender that's just going to hoof the ball whenever he gets a chance to, and that's a no-nonsense centre back. He doesn't do anything spectacular. You have to remember that play out a defense as a team instruction can affect all these defenders, because when you play out a defense, you're telling the defenders as a group that you want them to pass it short and you want them to be patient when they build play up. So whenever you use certain team instructions, it kind of influences how they play. Now, if you don't use the play out of defense shout, then what you're going to see is a lot of decision making is going to be factored into their passing styles. So you've got a central defender who can pass it short or he can pass it long depending on the instructions that you use. A ball playing defender, he's got the possibility of keeping it short, and then he can play it long as well. And then you got a no-nonsense center back who basically just goes, I'm going to clear the ball when I get the opportunity to. So what we're going to do is you got to understand that when you use some of these roles, the ball playing defender is what we would think of as a technically proficient player. He will need good first touch, he needs dribbling, passing, visions, and technical defender attributes, which means he needs to be able to mark and tackle. Now, honestly speaking, in the game of football, if you have to depend on a defender to tackle all the time, basically you're doing a shit job. Because ideally, give you a real example. Yap Stam, central defender, used to play for Manchester United, played really, really well. I mean, and then one fine day, Sir Alex Ferguson decides to sell him. Now, why did Sir Alex decide to sell the player? Was it because he was doing badly, apparently some people were saying there was issue with it in the back room. But honestly, we read the autobiography of Sir Alex Ferguson. He regrets selling him. Why? Because the analyst reports came to him saying, "Hey man, he's doing less tackling than the other defenders." Then it was, oh, that means he's getting a bit on in age. Maybe we should sell him now that we have value for him, and then we'll get somebody in, because we need somebody tackling, right, as a central defender. What they didn't check was his interceptions. Apparently, Yap Stam was so good he didn't need to tackle. He was always in the right place at the right time. He went on 2 more seasons. He went on to lift the Champions League with another team. He kept on playing really well. So the point here is, a central defender, if you're looking at tackling as an attribute, you're off point. A central defender needs to be in the right position to intercept the ball before it becomes an issue. If your defenders are all tackling and using that as a ratio to guide them, then it's a wrong way to play. Because what you really want to be doing is you want to be setting up your tactics in such a way, if your defenders have to be giving you a high tackling ratio, something is very wrong in the game. So you're looking for setting up tactics in such a way that you're looking at their mental attributes, like positioning, their reading of the game. Are they reading the game well enough for them to mitigate the problems before they arrive? Now, if you're playing with a low block, if you're playing a very defensive game, then naturally those players are going to have to be heading the ball, right? So you're looking at them being in the right position to hit, being in the right position to receive the pass, being in the right position to mark the player, not necessarily tackle the player, because you don't want them tackling inside the box even on a low block. So you have to be able to look at the stats in the game to decide whether or not you're using the right player. Now, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how some of these roles are now gonna play in the game. First, we're going to remove play out of defense as a shout, so that we don't see our players playing. We want to see how they move the ball out. Okay. Secondly, what I want to talk about before we begin is we're going to look at all the defenders as a group. We're also going to look at the no-nonsense central defender and how he plays. So we're going to change that role to show you how a no-nonsense player plays. And then we're also going to look at fullbacks on defend and fullbacks on support. Fullbacks are very versatile roles in the game, right? So we're going to use a fullback on defend, and we're going to use the fullback on defend, but we're going to remove all the PIs from this. Secondly, we're going to play with a standard attacking width as well. We are playing a higher line of engagement. Fullback on support is already closing this player down. The fullback on defend is already in this position. He's not going to move very far away. He's actually helping to mark this player. The ball goes out. As the ball goes out, fullback on defense is going to start moving this way slightly more. Fullback on support still is in a position. He does not overcommit during the defensive transition. And the ball goes, and the boys defend quite well, and they move the ball forward. Notice where the fullback on support is during this transition. Now, this is important. If the ball is on the right, fullback on defense is generally a bit more reticent, right? So he's going to be holding him. He's going to hold his position a bit more. Fullback on support, if he's on overlap, he's going to be slightly higher. Now we're not playing with any overlaps in this tactic. The fullback on support is in this position. The fullback on defense is not that far behind him. So as you can see, the fullback on support doesn't really move very far. The fullback on defense helps to hold the ball up, pass the ball inside, and we continue with our build-up play. Now, as you can see, when you play with a fullback on defense and support, you don't get a lot of penetration by their runs. They're going to hold their positions more. The fullback on support only commits to an attack if you've camped and you are moving the ball around. Then maybe the fullback on support might overlap. Now you can see us building play up and we're attacking down the left flank. Notice where the fullback on defense is. He's still holding his position. Now we have removed the overlap instruction from him, and he's not really in a position even to help the winger on the left flank. So in a defensive setup, fullbacks on support are pretty solid defensively. The only time you will see some weird things happening is when you start playing with overlap instructions. The overlap instructions are pretty good. I like overlap instructions because they help me influence the positioning of the players. But when you use an overlap instruction, you need to know what it does. It increases the mentality of the player involved and definitely will affect his positioning on the pitch, and also the risks that he might take on the pitch. Now again, you see the fullback on defense without the overlap instruction is sitting very comfortably in this position. The fullback on support, well, he's not attacking the flanks very much. So he's holding the position, and then in order for him to attack the flanks, you probably have to look at the tactic itself. There's an inside forward and attack here. There's a fullback on support here. Chances are he won't overlap. Now, if you wanted him to overlap, then you'd probably have to play this guy as an inside forward and support. So this is the reason why you got to look at the roles and duties in your setup to understand why a player might not be overlapping in the first place. How do overlap shouts affect the fullbacks? Now, here we got a fullback on support. He's already been given overlap. Notice how more aggressive he is on the right flank. So he's going to be a lot more aggressive. He goes down, he gives you width, he's ready to give you the cross, he's now a bit more involved in the attacks. The fullback on defense on the left flank, even with an overlap shot, he's not really going to be bombing down the flanks. He's not going to be as aggressive. There might be a slight shift in his initial positioning, but he's still going to be playing largely the same. So if the ball goes down to the left, he's just going to be defensive. He's just going to play the ball back. As the ball goes down, he's got a chance to overlap, but he won't take it. Ball goes to the right. The fullback on support on the other flank is a bit more aggressive. Now we're going to change this guy's duty to an attack duty, but we're going to remove the overlap so that you can see the difference. When you've got a fullback on attack duty, even without the overlap shout, he's going to be considerably higher when you have the ball even in your own half. He's going to take up an aggressive position as the ball moves up the pitch. So here he is. Even though the ball is on the left flank, he's on the right flank in an extremely aggressive position. So he has to run all the way back when you lose the ball. Our tactics are now slightly different. We're playing a no-nonsense fullback on defense with a fullback on support with an overlap instruction. Does this mean that this no-nonsense fullback is going to be playing ridiculous football? Not necessarily, because you still have the player or defense instruction. So the boys are going to play out a defense. You can see the fullback on support. He's not going to overlap blindly because this guy's an inside forward and attack. So he's going to hold his position more often than not. And if an opportunity presents itself, he might attack the flanks. He might go wide to receive a pass, and he might decide to overlap. Now you can see here we are transitioning quickly. The no-nonsense fullback is in this position. Fullback on support is still in this position. The players are a lot more disciplined in their transitions. Well, before I finish, I'll just go over some of the important things that you might want to remember. Ball-playing defenders are really good in this game. But if you want to get the best out of ball-playing defender, use the play out of defense shout. If you want to keep possession of the ball, use play out of defense as far as possible. Now, when it comes to underlap and overlap, they can affect your positioning of your players. Now here, our fullback on support is actually being given an underlap instruction. He probably won't underlap if there's no space, which means that he's got to attack inside. Now, as you can see, he's playing the ball safe, then he still goes out to the flanks because there is space on the flanks. So he's going to take up that position. The winger has come inside instead. So some of the instructions in FM19, they don't seem to work very well. I mean, you want an underlap, but the roles and duties are playing slightly differently. So if I wanted somebody, a specific role to go inside, like a fullback attacking inside, I probably use a complete wingback, or I'll use an inverted wingback. Here, on the other hand, I will avoid underlaps for fullbacks on support. I generally would. I would use overlaps to affect their positioning. As you can see, he does a mini move to go inside, and then he stops, and then he goes out again. So I would definitely avoid it. I would instead use fullbacks on overlap instructions if I want to influence their positioning. Don't forget, ball-playing defenders can play the diagonal. When you do play out defense, the team will always drop a bit deeper to recycle possession with the goalkeeper. And then when you have a goal kick, they will drop a bit deeper to receive the pass. If you don't use the play out defense shot, you use a ball-playing defender, then the goalkeeper has to decide when to play it short and when to play it long. Right? So you need a keeper then you need a really good sweeper keeper. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show. It was a short guide on fullbacks and ball-playing defenders and central defenders. My next guide will feature inverted wingbacks and wingbacks. If you have any questions, please look at me on my Twitter at Bustthenet or addicted2fm.com, my website. Once again, I want to thank all my patrons so they continue to support this channel. You make this kind of shows possible for the rest of the community. You guys take care. Have a good one. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. When you're not playing with a play out a defense shout, and you're playing with a sweeper keeper, you'll notice several things when your goalkeeper has the ball. Firstly, your boys don't drop a bit deeper to receive the pass from the goalkeeper, so the goalkeeper has to kick it long. Here you can see when the